By now, you've at least reviewed the previous slides that talk about the research and evidence-based frameworks and strategies that really provide that individualized, specially designed instruction for students when they are in their least restrictive environment, which most often is the general education classroom. That is key that is based on and really key to our general education staff and teachers working with our special education staff and teachers. It's the what, it's the groundwork behind the how working together. I'd like you to think back to Martin and Mrs. Arthurs from our case study last week and thinking about fourth grade and thinking about the issues, problems, and the dissonance that's happening and what structures, what existing laws and regulations are we talking about? It's a little fuzzier in this case in that it's not a clear cut, are we breaking laws and regulations like we have in some of our past case studies? So let's talk through some of the regulation laws that are out there that are applicable to both what we've reviewed in this lecture and to case study number 5. First and foremost, teacher certification models for special education and general education teachers are kind of built around collaboration. There's kind of this overgeneralization that gen ed teachers are the specialists in the content area, and special ed teachers are the specialists in intervening, accommodating, modifying, and coming in and providing specifically designed instruction. That varies according to the state that you're in for certifications. It varies according to the type of certification model we're working under. And I also need to tell you that those certification models are in a constant state of change right now because of the teacher shortage. So there could be some issues in a case like this where we may have a parent or a IEP team member that points out that we do need a qualified math teacher or a qualified reading teacher, qualified ELA teacher in providing high quality instruction. It's not breaking the law, it might be more bending the teacher certification model and expectations. So that's one thing to be aware of. The more important parts, the really depth of this matter is least restrictive environment. When you think of collaboration and least restrictive environment, you might not think of them going together, but in order for Martin to be in his least restrictive environment, which is the fourth grade classroom, there has to be collaboration. If the fourth grade teacher in this case were to say, nope, not having him in my classroom, which some of our other case studies have leaned towards, they're breaking least restrictive environment. In this case, we're dealing with that subjective kind of fuzzy area of the law where Martin is in his least restrictive environment, but Mrs. Arthurs is not happy with the way things are going, that how piece, that on the ground work. We also have to look towards case law. The Andrew F. case law specifically points to the fact that we no longer just accept the fact that students are in those classrooms and maybe not learning anything, but schools are required to provide individualization in order for students to make maximum progress possible. It's directly from the Andrew F. case study. And that's more of what we're dealing with here. Martin is there. Mrs. Arthurs is doing her best, but she doesn't believe that he's getting the education that he needs. So there it's tied directly to case law. And I also have to let you know, which is why I provided the definitions earlier in this lecture, evidence and research-based strategies are part of Michigan law and federal law. All teachers are required to use evidence and research-based strategies and practices, and they can be even called to the carpet on it, say during parent-teacher conferences, during a curriculum presentation, or during an IEP meeting. If a teacher is using something creative and something that maybe isn't tested, they at least need to know and to be able to revert back to evidence or research-based practices. Most of our available curriculums most of our available intervention programs are all based solidly in research. So this isn't something to worry about, just something to be aware of when we're talking about existing laws and regulations.